Everybody here, every conception, every life is created in the image of God Almighty. We're created in His image. We see that in Genesis chapter number 1. Then God said, let us make man in our image, according to our image, and let them rule over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the air and over the cattle and over all the earth and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. In verse 27, God created man in His own image. In the image of God, He created him, male and female, He created them. God put His stamp, He built His image into every single life at the very moment of conception. And we're made in the image of God, but that image has been marred by your sin and my sin. And so when we come to Christ, that image is being recreated in us day by day by day. That's the growth in the Christian life. That image is growing. But the day of judgment, Matthew chapter 25. Remember, Jesus divides those who are being judged with the sheep and the goats. And let's say this is the goaty section we have over here. And here's all the goats, and Jesus says to them very clearly, in that time in which, by the way, truth is there. In judgment, there's no spinning around, no, truth is there. Truth about every one of us. And Jesus said to the goats, He says, I was hungry, and you didn't give me anything to eat. He said, I was thirsty, and you didn't give me anything to drink. He said, I was a stranger, and you didn't take me in. He said, I was naked, and you didn't give me clothes. I was in prison. He said, you didn't come to see me. And He could have said, I was in the womb, and you allowed someone to kill me. Jesus said, if you have treated the least of these, is there anything smaller or more insignificant than a little baby in the womb of its mother? A little feet, anything more insignificant? Jesus said, if you have mistreated one of the least of these, you have mistreated, you have done it unto me. Jesus said it's better to take someone who has misused a child, a baby, and hang a millstone around their neck and throw them in the bottom of the ocean than to let them live. You think God Almighty doesn't take the sacredness of life, doesn't take the fact that we're created in the image of life seriously? By the way, folks, there's no middle ground here. There's no middle ground. You're either pro-life or you're pro-death. There's absolutely no middle ground. All this thing with first trimester, that's a bunch of mess and baloney and the propaganda of Satan. You're either pro-life or you are pro-death. We're made in the very image of God. You say, well, how did God make us in His image? The Bible tells us, and it's such a powerful verse that He gives us here. He says in the book of Job, He says, Job 10, verse 8, your hands fashioned and made me altogether. Isn't that something? And you would destroy me. Remember now that you have made me as clay, and would you turn me into dust again? Did you not pour me out like milk and curdle me like cheese? Clothe me with skin and flesh and knit me together with bones and sinews. You have granted me life and loving kindness. We are created by the very hand of God. In other words, when you were born and I was born, God Himself individually shaped and formed every single human life, made in his image, and he shaped it. You read that in Psalm 139. You see that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. He shaped all of us. What a fabulous thing. And those pro-choicers, those abortionists, they say, well, I'm going to tell you, you look inside and you see only a wad of cells. Let me tell you something. Every one of us alive here, we're a wad of cells. Everything about me and you, from my hair to everything, we're all cells. Everybody here, you're just a bunch of cells. You are a wad of cells. But the difference is, as with a fetus, as with a babe in the mother's womb, as with all of us, those cells are alive. It's an organism. Its life is in those cells.